This is the Codcast. All things Whitby Town FC.
Yes, welcome to the latest edition. I'm Andrew Snaith, and before we get into a huge final day of the season, let's hear the best of last weekend's action.
What's there? Giving it square to Hawkins. Hawkins tries one for Reg. Oh! It's there! Lewis Hawkins taking it brown! We said he needed to pay us back, and that's how he did it! Lewis Hawkins from 25 yards rifles it into the top bin, stuck it on a postage stamp. Whitby lead. What a goal, Liam!
I mean, we've said he hasn't scored all season, hasn't he? But
no.
He likes a world, he doesn't every so often. That's probably the best he's scored person ever, I think, isn't it?
Definitely.
Rival, that one.
Low ball falling into Campbell, just takes a touch out of himself there. There's a 1-2 with Potts, playing a lovely ball through there. Chance for Leake in the penalty area. It's one of these. Lucas Weir just getting in behind and firing it beyond Shane Bland and not really covering themselves in glory, Whitby there, Liam.
No, just got through it. Was it Dawson? Maybe just got slightly flat-footed, didn't he? And couldn't have sorted out to retrieve the ball.
Chance for Leake then in from the right. Bringing the ball in field is Hurst. Passed out wide by Smith. He's got Watts for company as well. Just get the ball into the box though, and he tapped down to Potts. Potts in the area 2-1. Whitby have just given him that chance there. Ball's dropped to Collins. He's made a hash of it, and it's dropped straight for Potts. No challenge on him, and he's just fired it beyond Bland.
Another mistake, though, isn't it? Just people just not doing the defensive duties.
Still on the floor, the Whitby number 9. It's back to Campbell here. Chance for Leake there. 1-on-1 here. Weir with the effort. There's 3-1. Ball swung into the penalty area there. It's Haswell. Just gets around his man. Takes it down in the box. Haswell gets it back across there. Oh, it's in! James Harrison turns it home. Lifeline for Whitby. James Harrison's deflected effort into the roof of the net.
Nice.
There is a chance.
To be a bit given there.
Kennedy back over his own head, but out of play. That's the full-time whistle. Leake 3, Whitby 2. It's going down to the final day for the Seasiders.
That was the rather tense 3-2 defeat at Leake, but of course if that was tense, it's going to be nothing compared to this Saturday, Paul.
No, absolutely not. I've been trying to avoid thinking about it, to be honest, over the course of this week just gone. We're approaching D-Day, as it were, aren't we? You know, we've been here in the past. We've had these, last day relegation escapes and everything like that. Whether it's been us doing the job through winning the last game, or Camel Led doing the job by not sorting their ground out, everything like that. We've seen it all, haven't we? And it's not something we want to see again, but ultimately it is what it is. We are going to see it again after snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory, as it were, last weekend at Leake. So there's certainly nerves on a lot of people's part. I'm sure it's as big a day as the Footballers Club has had for a long time. And ultimately, the aim is simple. It has to be a draw or more. If we get beat, it's not in our hands then. So, it's going to be a tense old afternoon.
Indeed. That's the thoughts of Paul Connolly, by the way, from the Whitby Town media team, who you heard on commentary as well, alongside Liam Ryder. And Liam spoke to the Whitby Town coach, Denny Ingram, after that League game.
Well, Denny, not the ideal afternoon out there. He knew it was on the line. Better Morpeth of Town's result and safety secure, but as it goes, a disappointing one out there.
Absolutely. Thought to a man, first half, they were fantastic. Won first, second, third balls, put it into good areas. Were a nuisance for them, played some good stuff. Put it in the box, got our reward by having our first shot at real shot at goal. Last two weeks I've been in, everything's been geared up for plenty of shots, plenty of crosses into the box, getting men into the box, getting on the end of it, and hopefully scoring goals. We've had our first shot, we scored a great goal by Hawks. I thought was outstanding all game, to be fair. one that can certainly walk away with his head up. Maybe he's not his chest out, but his head up with his performance. We came in at half time, 1-0 up, great opportunity for 45 minutes of football to go and really stamp your authority on the game. I didn't think they really laid a glove on us first half. Said go out, do exactly the same as what you've done, pick up the first, pick up the seconds, play into good areas. And I said to them, there's only one way you'll get beat today, that's you lot in here. And they've gone out and completely done the opposite of what's been asked. And we've just said to them in there, wherever they might be next year, whether it's Whitby Town or elsewhere, nobody will accept it. No coach, no manager up and down the country will accept that kind of performance second half. And by all accounts, it's been Whitby Town season, and look, you've got to change. It's as simple as that. They're lucky enough they've got one more to get themselves out of jail and sort of salvage a season. But Whitby Town deserve better than what they saw second half. And there's players in that dressing room that deserve better. But just not good enough. Second half by any country mile away from them. Didn't get close to the 10. Just said to the boys in there, is anybody taking a bit of leadership? Seeing that it's all right, me and Bully shouting from the sideline and Jace having his input. But players have got to take responsibility for themselves. We're not talking about young, naive kids throughout the team. These are so-called experienced players. And I don't see any leadership, I don't see any drive, I don't see any heart to dig in when things are getting tough. I just said there, sometimes you've got to fight, kick, scratch, bite, whatever it is to get the better of the person that you're playing against. And if you're not having a bad time, the person who you're up against ain't going to have a good time. They'll have a similar bad time of what you are. Just do a job for the team, and we fell short second half, as simple as that.
Yeah, and I guess what you've seen in the 2 games you've been back involved with the club, there have been promising moments like you mentioned there, but it's just those, really, it's poor goals being conceded ultimately.
Poor decision making. Simple as that is, look, we said make the right decision at the right time, make the right pass at the right time, and we've ushered a ball out here for a throw-in after clearly hitting it, and we've just jogged back. There's the first one. Too easy down our right-hand side. Lads put a cross in. Colo's tried to clear it with his left foot when he's facing his own goal, completely missed it. It's just little things like that, the fundamentals of football, the basics of football. Again, the ball's being played up to Charlo. He's come through the back of him. It could be in a free kick, but you see that, and then the ball's getting played up to their centre forwards, and they're bringing it down, turning and driving at our back 3, back 4, whatever it is that we were playing at the time. But to a man, they were good first half, very, very poor second.
And I suppose the timing of Whitby's second goal, a 2 apiece, obviously that would have done the job. But by the time it gets back to 3-2, ultimately a bit too little, too late for that.
And again, it comes down to having men in the dressing room who's taking responsibility. Is you concede 1, you regroup, you stick together, you see yourself through the next 10-15 minutes. You concede a second, what you don't do then is go and concede a third. You stay in the game, you do whatever it needs to be done, you put it into good areas, get people in and around the areas that you're putting the ball into. First cross we put in, second half we scored. Proof's in the pudding. It's not rocket science. Keep saying time and time again, football's an easy game made hard by players who think they have to overcomplicate things. Just do the basics right, boys. Simple as that.
Yeah, and then looking at that game next week, visit of Cleethorpes Town, ultimately it could have been a nice relaxing day. It's going to be far from it, but ultimately it all comes down to the players on the day.
Absolutely, 100%. Listen, we've just said there, put all the training sessions on in the world, you can do all the shouting and bawling from the sidelines that you want, but ultimately you live and die by your players, and at this moment in time, first half we were living by our players, second half we just died by them. Simple as that.
That's Denny Ingram speaking to Liam.
This is the Codcast.
obviously last game of the season. So maybe any of those players who maybe wouldn't necessarily be risked in a game. I mean, you know, the likes of Frankie Whelan, the likes of Nathan McGinley, maybe Adam Gell or Jarrett Rivers. I mean, they might come into play maybe a half or some part of that game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that could well be the case. You know, I think if in a perfect world, Bully, JK and Denny will want everybody they can possibly have available. So yeah, in that respect, we might just see players being patched up, just get them ready and get them out there for, like you say, for 45 minutes if they can do a job. You know, even if they can offer an option from the bench if we need it as well. Yeah, I think it's just going to be a case of if we can get players out there for even some time to try and affect the game and try and help us win that game. Obviously, you know, they've got to be able to get out there and play. You know, if they can't walk, if they can't move, then it poses a problem, doesn't it? But yeah, if they can get out there and they can play some part in just trying to help us over the line, you know, that's what we desperately need. You know, the likes of Frankie Whelan you mentioned there, Nathan McGinley, Adam Gell has been really struggling. So whether we see him is a different matter. But yeah, if they're going to have 6 weeks to recover, that's ultimately the thing. So if there is a chance they can get out and do a job and put a shift in for, you know, for, like you said, for half a football match even. It would, I'm sure, be a massive boost to Whitby to get them out there. But yeah, they've got 6 weeks to recover from the point of that game finishing. So, you know, hopefully we can get a couple of extra bodies out there and get the job done. But yeah, that's going to be the thing now is who goes out there on Saturday afternoon and does the job for Whitby. And I think there's going to be a few headaches for the management team to come across.
Absolutely, yeah. And somebody who did the job last weekend, certainly with that great goal in the first half, was the skipper, Lewis Hawkins, who spoke to Paul earlier on.
So, Hawksy, we'll have a chat about Lake Town first of all. Obviously, that game last Saturday, Whitby doing so well in the first half, getting themselves ahead. Obviously, your goal that separated the sides at the break, but the second half, a very different story. I mean, just first of all, just talk to us about why you feel that might have been the case.
That's something we spoke about straight after in the change rooms, about how many games that we've took the lead in, and then come out second half. And we just can't seem to hang on to it, and teams start putting the pressure on. I don't know if it's because of the situation we're in or feeling that bit of pressure, but it's something that's happened all season.
In terms of the games then for Whitby over the course of this season, Hawksy, you know, something that we've pointed out a couple of times on the Codcast and on the radio commentaries is the fact that, you know, the first half of the season Whitby led in 9 games and they won all 9. Since then, it's been a real struggle to hold on to leads since sort of mid-January time. Why do you think that might be?
Down to, I can't remember the last time someone cut us open, scored a brilliant goal. It's just them individual errors that we seem to be making. It's just costing us, and it's like I said, apart from them games that you've just said, it's cost us a lot of points this season.
In terms of that goal then, Hawksy, obviously we'll have a little chat about one of the positives that came from Saturday. That one being your first of the season. Must have been a good 25, 30 yards out and stuck it right on a postage stamp. I mean, that must be up there with the best of the goals that you've scored.
Yeah, I get in that position a lot, just on that edge of the box, and some reason this season I haven't been able to let one go, and then just thought, got it. It was a good touch out my feet and thought let's just hit it, and luckily it ended up in the top corner. But yeah, it's definitely up there, one of my better ones.
Looking ahead to Saturday afternoon then, Hawksy, Cleethorpes Town, the visitors to the Towbar Express Stadium at the Turnbull Ground. The message couldn't be any clearer, really, could it, from Whitby's perspective? They need a point to ensure survival.
Yeah, it's an absolute massive game on Saturday. We've got training Tuesday, training Thursday to build up a massive week, and we just need everyone there behind us, giving us that support, and hopefully we can go out there and get that result that we need. We spoke about it the club hasn't been relegated for 100 years, and nobody in that changing room wants their name to be in that squad that takes the club down. So hopefully we can get the job done.
And what's the mood like around the dressing room then, Hawksy? Obviously, it's Whitby are in a difficult moment, and there is a lot of pressure riding on Saturday's game. That it is as simple as we need to get a result in that match. But how are the lads bearing up and shaping up around that?
Yeah, we've all said it's in our hands. We're the ones that are in front. We don't need to rely on any results to go our way. So it's literally down to us in the change room. So if we can go out there, get the result we need, and we know we're safe.
Obviously, the home form's been a bit of a sticking point for Whitby over the course of the season, Hawks. Only 4 home wins across this campaign. Just looking at it then, what would your message be to the fans coming out and turning out on Saturday afternoon to support the Blues?
Yeah, we do have every bit of support on Saturday. If all the fans get down and come and support us and make some noise, and like you say, they've travelled us up and down throughout the full season, and hopefully with them all there, we can get that result that we need, and we can enjoy us staying in this league.
This is the Codcast.
That's Lewis Hawkins, Whitby Town skipper, looking ahead to that huge game, of course. Cleethorpes coming to the Towbar Express Stadium. We will return to that. But Liam, we've announced a new secretary at Whitby Town FC.
Yes, I think a really good appointment. Really pleased that he came forward when we actually advertised a volunteer coordinator role. And that's really when discussion sort of took off that actually we're a very good fit for the secretary's role. But yeah, I mean, got a great background, known locally for his involvement at Fishburn Park a good while back now, but really played a key part in their sort of rise and getting the youth teams and the women's team that they had at that moment all set up. So knows his stuff in terms of football, but in terms of the admin side of things, well, really experienced, had some pretty high profile roles at the RAF and with the police previously. And yeah, I think most importantly, he seems really keen for it. I liked what he said in one of his interviews with us last week, that he feels wanted at the club, which is, that's also the sort of impression I want to give off to anybody getting involved in a volunteering capacity. So yeah, I think really all a very positive appointment, and certainly someone who I feel will be a massive asset. But not forgetting as well, of course, just got to thank Steve Shields for his input and expertise over the last few years. I think he's been involved for 5-6 years now, and that's secretary as well, possibly even longer. But yeah, I think he's certainly used his knowledge well, and I'm sure it'll be really helpful in getting Paul Walker trained up over the next few weeks and all the systems, because ultimately he's coming in at a very busy time ahead of all the registrations for next season. So yeah, I'm sure he'll give him a good handover. But yeah, just on Paul himself, like I say, really great appointment, I feel, and I'm sure he'll certainly be somebody that be approachable, excellent for the club all around, and I like as well that, as subject to any other commitments, his intention is to come to every match, home and away. So just to have a face sort of regularly representing the club, in addition to the media side of things, I guess, and the regulars that travel, that'd be really good to have next season.
Absolutely, yes. Welcome to the club, Paul Walker. You mentioned Stephen Shields and his contribution over the last few years, and of course that also extends to running the Turnbull's Bar, Paul, and that's going to return to the club's hands now.
Yeah, that's from the end of June. That'll be returning into the club's running. A big thanks to Steve and Bev for their work over the years. They've taken it from where it was when they sort of took it over to only really being open like on a match day essentially, and occasionally on a Thursday as well, to being open more regularly. The Mondays and the Thursdays with the bingo, obviously the match days as well. The Friday nights have always been busy too. So yeah, they've done an excellent job, and they obviously oversaw the refurbishment when it happened a good few years back now, and made it into a nice welcoming sort of bar to go in for match day and outside of match day. So yeah, a real credit to Steve, Bev and Brogan and Emma as well, that have worked behind the bar, and everybody else that's helped out over the years. and yeah, they've made a fantastic contribution to the club in that respect. But yeah, from the start of July, it will be back in the club's hands and sort of run for the football club. So yeah, it'll be good to see where it goes from there.
Indeed. Liam, just to stay quickly on this, the admin side of things, obviously the club continually looking to appoint different roles going on. Just give us a little bit of a summary of what they will be and how anyone listening can get involved.
Yeah, so it sounds like we may have somebody in line all but sorted out for the commercial manager's role, but that's a role that did actually get quite a bit of interest. An exciting media sponsorship deal should be announced next week, so keep your eyes posted for that one. But yeah, in terms of the roles as well, there'll be one that's going to firstly get mentioned at that Friday supporters club meeting is a supporter liaison officer, which I mentioned last week. So that's going to go to supporters club members as like a first refusal, if you like, on that one, or for people to come forward at least. And then eventually, if there's no sort of takes from that, it will go into the public domain. But that essentially would be a point of contact for supporters of the football club. They'll have a designated email address set up for them so people can put any sort of queries or concerns they may have, and they'd also be representing the supporters on the board at regular board meetings every month. So yeah, hopefully we'll be in a good place come the start of the 2026-27 season. Hopefully still in the NPL Premier Division as well next season.
Absolutely, amen to that. So if you're listening to this beforehand, there's that supporters club meeting on Friday night, and also I'm sure if you're interested in helping out, just find the relevant people during Saturday's home match as well against Cleethorpes. It's quite a simple shake-up really, in that Whitby Town know that if they get a draw or better against Cleethorpes, that they will be staying up, and for that 29th successive season in the NPL Premier. And if that doesn't happen, unfortunately, it will then go on what Prescott Cables do in their game against Bamber Bridge at home. If they win, then they will stay up at the expense of the Blues. The other fly in the ointment is Morpeth Town, but because of the swing of goal difference, their game against Warrington Town, I think slightly less likely to play a part, depending on the scorelines. There needs to be a big goal swing in that one, so we definitely need a point. Let's put it that way. And I caught up with the Whitby Town goalkeeper, Shane Bland, earlier this week. So obviously disappointing to lose out 3-2. Do you think that scoreline really told the full story of the game?
Not just the story of the game, I just think the story of our season. I think first half we were brilliant. We had them pinned in their half, and then after that we sat off and let them play. And after that, there was a couple of mistakes in the team, and they punished us. And yeah, I think that's just the story of our season.
I was going to say, from your position on the field, you're probably quite well placed to see what's going on. I mean, is it individual errors? I mean, what is it down to really, these problems?
Probably individual errors. For me personally, though, I just think it's going away from what's working in the game, and not capitalising on that. And yeah, it's just it's very, very frustrating time. And we've got one more chance to put it right next week, and we have to put it right. Otherwise, potentially we're in trouble.
I was going to say, obviously, you're not going to reveal, and I'm sure we wouldn't want to reveal on a family programme like this what was said in the dressing room after the game, but presumably everybody's still very much together and a united front.
The team's always been together. I just think it's just consistency's killed us this season. Of course, it doesn't help when players are leaving towards the end of the season, and it's just a massive void. It's a massive void to fill, and yeah, it's just been a disappointing season all around, and we just need to get the job done next week and move on.
Yeah, and you personally, on the commentary, Paul and Liam were saying that you're almost wrapped up like a mummy out there with all the bandaging and everything. I mean, how is the injury?
I'll be honest, it's not great. It's just obviously after the collision last week. It's just my knee, just not letting me kick at all. Not muscular, but it's just I think it's just a bit of fluid in my knee, which is just not clearing, and it's not letting me kick the ball. But I've had a torrid season with my own injuries, calf pulls, quad pulls, and it's just been a tough season for me for myself. But I've tried to give it my all for the team, and that's all I can do.
I was going to say, I imagine there's maybe a bit of relief that it's just one more 90 minutes to get through this campaign. I mean, is it just a case of getting a bit of rest, having a chance to rest all those injuries?
Yeah, just trying to get through this week, trying to do as much recovery as I can. I know it's obviously hard as a part-time footballer, and you've got work and you've got kids, etc. But yeah, I just think it's one of those where I've just got to try and do my best, ice it as much as possible, and just try and get through 90 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, and obviously it is a huge 90 minutes coming up this weekend at the Towbar Express Stadium. It's Cleethorpes. It's the last game. We know we need at least we need a draw. We need a draw, and that'll do it for us. Obviously, we don't want to have to rely on other score lines. Presumably, hugely important we get people to the game and behind the club.
100%. This is a game. I mean, I think. In my 12 years here, I think this is probably the scariest relegation scrap I've been involved in. Normally, we would have been safe by now. But I just think as a club, as players, we need to step up. Obviously, fans need to be there on Saturday, and we need everybody there. Whether supporters from the past have fell out with the club. We need that shed. We need that shed. Full, and yeah, we need everybody to get over the line.
The Codcast, all things Whitby Town FC.
That's Shane Bland. Get yourself to the game if you can at the Towbar Express Stadium. Pack that shed out, get some noise going. That's the message from Shane and ourselves. Just a final word going into that game, Paul. I mean, arguably, it is the biggest game that we've played in, certainly in our time involved with the club.
Yeah, I would go along with that. It's been a while since we've had a fixture like it, really, isn't it? We've sort of had a chat between all of us, I think, about our sort of previous final day escapades, the likes of the Buxton game. Yeah, we sort of spoke about that one, haven't we? We mentioned the Ilkeston game and how tight the league table was at the end of that season, just 4 points separating 10th and the bottom four, as I think it was. Look, there's not much else we can say, really. It is a massive game for Whitby Town, and ultimately, we don't want to be getting relegated in our centenary year. I'm sure the players don't want to be the set of players. I know Lewis Hawkins mentioned it in his interview. This set of players surely don't want to be the set of players that have their name next to being the first ones relegated in a Whitby Town shirt as well. Ultimately, we know what's needed. It's a draw minimum. We've got to go out and do the job. The squad of players, you would say on paper, is good enough. So I'm not, I don't think that's going to be an issue. But, the players have to look at it and say, how much do we want this? How much do we want to stay in this division? That's ultimately what it's about now, is asking that question of themselves and hopefully, pulling it out of the bag.
Absolutely, yeah. So once again, Saturday, 3 p.m, Towbar Express Stadium, Whitby Town versus Cleethorpes. A draw will keep us up. A defeat, and we're looking very nervously at Prescott Cable's result. If they win and we lose, unfortunately, that would be the worst case scenario, and Whitby would be relegated for the first time in their history down again to the NPL First Division East. So hopefully that will not be the case. Do get along if you can and shout on the Blues. If you really can't, we do have live commentary as always on This Is the Coast Extra from just before 3 with Paul, Liam and the rest of the media team there Thank you very much to my guests, Paul Connolly, Liam Ryder, Lewis Hawkins, Shane Bland and Denny Ingram. Thank you to you for listening, and we'll be back next week to talk about what did happen this weekend. Bye for now.